Department of Computer Engineering and Information Technology. We are from Devi Mahalakshmi Polytechnic, Titwada. Semester 5th. Subject Software Testing. Subject code 22518. Chapter 1 Basic of Software Testing and Testing Methods. In previous lecture we discussed about what is software testing, role of software testing and terminologies of software testings. Learning outcome of this video: software testing life cycle, white box testing and black box testing. Now in next now software testing life cycle. Stlc is a framework that defines the steps involved in the development of software at each phase. It covers the detailed plan for building, deploying, and maintaining the software. It defines the complete cycle of the development. All the tasks involved in the planning, creating, testing, and deploying a software product. In these, various phases are involved in software testing life cycle. In short, a testing process which has specific steps to be executed in a defined sequence to ensure that the quality goals have been met. That's why the software testing phases are used. In this process, each activity is carried out in a planned and systematic way. Figure shows the below phases are Stlc, the requirement phase, planning phase, analysis phase, design phase, implementation phase, execution phase, conclusion phase, and closure phase are there. In previous semester, we have learned about the software test engineering. In software engineering, the topic is software development life cycle is there, SDLC. The SDLC is in software engineering subject, and STLC, that means the testing process or phases are in a STLC. Student, in the SDLC phases and the STLC phases, almost same things are required, but some phases are different from this SDLC. Some difference between the SDLC and STLC. SDLC, that means the software development life cycle, and STLC, software testing life cycle. In SDLC is a software development life cycle. It is an systematic approach to develop a software. In STLC, the process of testing a software is a well planned and systematic way, is known as the STLC. In SDLC, requirements gatherings are here, and the STLC, the requirements analysis is done. In this phase, software requirements are reviewed by the testing. In the SDLC, the design process is working, and the STLC, the test planning, test analysis and test design is done in this phase. Test team reviews the design documents and prepares the test plan. In SDLC, coding or developments are here. And the STLC, the test construction and verification is done in this phase. Tester write test cases and finalize the test plan. In SDLC, the testing process is there. In STLC, the test execution and bug reporting, manual testing and automation testing is done. Defects found are reported and retestings and regression testings is also done in this phase. Then in SDLC, maintenance are here. In STLC, maintenance testing is done in this phase. Okay. Then some phases are in software testing's life cycle. The phase number 1 is the requirement analysis are there. Requirement analysis, that means in SDLC requirements gatherings are there, and the STLC the requirements analysis in there. In this phase, the tester analyze the customer requirements and work with the developers during the design phase to see which requirements are testable and how they are going to test those requirements. In this, it is very important to start testing activities for the requirements phase itself, because the cost of fixing defect is very less. If it is found in any bug in these requirements, then requirement phase rather than in the future phase. Okay. After that, phase number 2, the test plannings are there. In this phase, all the planning about the testing is done, like what needs to be tested, how the testing will be done, test strategies to be followed, and what will be the test environment, what test methodology will be followed, hardware and software availability, resource, risks, etc. In this phase, all the planning about testing is done, like the test plan. Then the test analysis is the phase 3. After the test planning phase is over, the test analysis phase start. In this phase, we need to dig deeper into the project and figure out what testing needs to be carried out in each SDLC phase. Automation activities are also decided in this phase. If automation needs to be done for the software program, how will the automations be done? How much times will it take to automate, and which features need to be automated? Non-functional testing areas are also analyzed and defined in this phase. Phase 4 is the test design. In this phase, various black box test and white box test design techniques are used to design the test cases for the tester start writing test cases by following those design techniques. If automation testing needs to be done, then automation scripts also needs to return in this phase. Next step, phase 1, test construction and verification. In this phase, tester prepare the more test cases by keeping in mind the positive and negative scenarios, end user scenarios, etc. All the tests. Now, we discuss about the software testing's life cycle. Some phases are there, but in this, which testings are performed. So, the software testings are included in the white box testings and black box testing. But which types of testings are in here? So, there are in the testings, two types are there, the static testing and dynamic testing. We have already done this. So, in static testing, some testings are included is there. These are the white box testing. In dynamic testing is the black box testing. Okay. That white box testing is belonging to the static testing. Now we discuss in details about the white box testing. Okay, then white box testing is called the structural testing or the glass box testing. Okay, glass box testing, it's like a transparent testing. White box testing is the performed to test the program's the internal structure. Suppose in this your project the three modules are there and the three modules are taken in the different three ways. Okay, but in the black box testing the different ways are occurring there. In the white box testing, test case inputs are given and execute your program. After that, the outputs are displayed in your white box. Techniques of the white box testing. The first is the inspection. Inspections is the one of the most common sorts of review practices found in the software projects. The goal of the inspections is to identify the defects. Commonly inspected work produces the input software requirements, specification and the testing. The planning, overview meeting, preparation, inspection meeting, rework and follow-up. These topics included in the inspection. Planning, that means the inspection is planned by the moderator. Overview meetings, the author describes the background of the work product. The preparations, each inspector examines the work product to identify the possible defects. Then next is the inspection meeting. During this meeting, the reader reads through the. Now, some techniques are used in the white box. The first is the walkthrough. Second, technical review. Then, code functionality testing, code coverage testing. Then, the first is walkthrough. In the software engineering, walkthrough is a form of the software peer review in which a designer or the programmer leads members of the development team and other interested parties go through a software product and the participant asks questions and make the comments about the possible errors, violations of the development standard and other problems. The three specialty roles in the walkthrough: the author, the walkthrough leader and the recorder. In the author, who represents the software product in step by step. The technical review is a form of peer review in which a team of qualified personnel examines the suitability of the software product for its intended use and identified discrepancies for the specification and the standard. Technical reviews may also provide recommendations of the alternatives and the examinations of various alternatives. Technical review differs from the software walkthrough in hence the specific focus on the technical quality of the product reviewed. It differs from the software inspection in its ability to suggest the direct alteration to the product review and its lack of the direct focus on the training and process the employee. The role of the technical review, that means the decision maker, review leader, recorder, technical staff, management staff, and the customer or user representative. The decision maker, the person for whom the technical review is conducted, determines if the review objectives have been met. The review leader is responsible for performing the administrative tasks related to review the ensuring or Next is the code functionality testings are there. Code functional testings involves tracking a piece of data complexity through the software. At the unit test level, this would just be through the several integrated module or functions. The same tracking could be done through the several integrated modules or even through the entire software product, although it would be more time consuming. For example, of the code coverage testing. In previous slide, we learned about the complexity of the data, complexity of the given the inputs, and then, for example, here the programs are here, and in this, find out the complexity of your data. Then, during this data flowing, the check is made for the proper declarations of the variable declare and loops. How many? Next is the code coverage testing. The logical approach is to divide the code just as you did in a black box testing into its data as it starts for the program flow. By looking the software from the same perspective, you can more easily map the white box information you gain to the black box cases you have already written. Consider the data first. Data includes all the variables, constant, arrays, data structure, keyboards and mouse inputs files and screens, input and input output, other devices such as the modems, networks and so on. In code functionality, we discuss about how many during then for example of the code coverage testing, the programs are here. In this, the considered data including which types of variables are declared, which types of constants, which type of arrays, data structure, keyboards and mouse, all these give. Now, advantages and disadvantages of the white box testing. White box testing advantages: the code optimization by finding hidden errors. Because in this white box testing, the transparent box testing is there. Every modules are checked in this white box testing. Every units, every modules are checked. So that's why the code optimizations by finding the hidden errors are here. Every error, every bugs are find out from this white box testing. White box test cases can be easily automated. Testing is more through as all code paths are usually covered. Testing can start early in SDLC even if GUI is not available system. GUI, that means graphic user interfaces, are not included in here. Then the disadvantages of the white box testing. White box testing can be quite complex and expensive. Obviously, each and every modules are checked by the. Now, the black box testing is here. Black box testing, also known as the behavior testing, is a software testing method in which the internal structure, design, implementation of the item being tested is. Black box testings are here. First is equivalence partitioning, second boundary value analysis, then decision table testing, state transition testing, error guessing, graph-based testing methods, and last is the comparison testings are here. Student, detail about the black box testing techniques in the I will explain in the next video. Then, now in this video we discuss about the white box testing, advantages and disadvantages of the black box testing. The advantages of the black box testing is it is a testing method without having knowledge about the actual code or internal structure of the application. Second, this is a higher level testing such as the functional testing. Third, it concentrates on the functionality of the system under the test. Black box testing requires the requirement specification to test. Fifth, black box testing is done by the tester. Disadvantages: test cases are challenging to design without having the clear functional specification. Second,